Hi, everyone. Welcome to FounderTechTok podcast, a space where we decode founder journeys and learn the art and science of building the future. Today, I have with me Rucha Dave. She is the founder of SkinScience.ai, um, and she also works in tech full time. So, welcome, Rucha. Welcome to FounderTechTok podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Agrima. Great to be on the podcast.
Yeah. So can you briefly tell us about your background and what you've built?
100%. So I come from a bioengineering background. I've always wanted my career to be at the intersection of human impact and innovation. And so I went into study bioengineering with a focus on ML, data science, innovation products, and then found my way from data science to tech consulting to entrepreneurship. And yeah, right now I work full time in tech, but I also am building a product that essentially helps bridge that gap between yourself and your dermatologist. I went through about 9 to 10 years of really bad cystic acne, and it made me realize that across the board, between going to the dermatologist, seeing a plethora of different product and ingredient recommendations on social media, when you're navigating acne, there's so many different hurdles you run into, and there's nothing on the market, at least nothing I saw, and even right now, there isn't anything that actually helps you navigate that in a way that isn't just, okay, just use this product and that's it. Because I think skincare is so much more than that. It's about, learning to navigate the low self-esteem, learning to track your habits and create like a holistic perspective of what's working for your acne and knowing that. And it's different for every person. So that's essentially what we're solving in the form of an app. And we're actually launching soon. So this is a perfect pre-launch podcast to be on. But yeah, it's a bit about me.
Yeah, pretty cool. So, okay, so glad that, so are you using any of the education that you have, taken from your college in the building this app? Like, are you building this app or like all the tech side and everything?
Yeah, I am. This actually started from a hackathon, and I'm definitely using my background. I mean, like having that data science background and knowing a lot about AI, machine learning helps a ton with this, especially when you're designing something that reaches that end user whose data is so sensitive, and you want to be mindful of that. But at the same time, creating an experience that people like and they're able to relate to. That's all what engineering is about, right? So I definitely use my background every single day.
Yeah, pretty cool. Okay. And what made you say that this problem is broken enough that I need to build a company around it?
Yeah, 100%. So before I went into that hackathon, I actually ran a few user surveys. I put it on my Instagram story and I saw hundreds of people responded to that. And they were like, oh my God, I would love something like this. They showcased that their struggles with acne, had a lot of confusion around it. They don't know what to use, where to start. There's a lot of low self-esteem. And originally I thought that this is just something that you experience in your teens, but it was a lot of folks in their 20s and 30s as well. So they made me see that this is something that's a universal problem. And then winning the hackathon and even like winning a few awards after that for this app before it's even on the market yet, I think gave me a lot of conviction that like, okay, this is something that it's not just something I'm passionate about that I've faced with and that this small test group is validating, but it's something across the board that like larger audiences are also responding to. So, I've won pitch competitions in New York from different venture studios, also at my Temple University, Fox School of Business. So everything like coming together and getting this level of validation and that sort of like market response has given me a lot of confidence that I'm just excited to bring this to the people that are excited about it.
Yeah. Okay. Pretty cool. Then know like you won hackathons and stuff. But yeah. So okay, people are trusting an app with their face and their skin and their confidence at large.
Yeah.
So how do you build trust when AI is involved? Are people scared like sharing data with you?
I think honestly, it all comes down to transparency and making sure that the user is in that loop. So, I mean, in the world that we live in today, everyone's data is always shared. everyone is using Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever you're using, your data is exposed anyways. But I think when with a product like this, where it's very sensitive data and you're essentially the person that's using this, they're scared, they're confused, being transparent with them and talking to them like they are part of this build with us is a big part of how we're building that user trust because there's nothing to hide, honestly. I mean, if they want to keep their data on their phone or like have it uploaded, like whatever they want, they get to choose that. And we have a lot of transparency about like where the data is going overall at large. So that makes sure that people are able to either opt in or opt out.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so what's one transformation story from a user, excluding yourself, that made you feel that, this is actually working?
Yeah, 100%. So, I've done a lot of different testing, and one specific story that stuck out to me, it was with this girl. She was a sophomore in college, and I had her try the app, and essentially, she had a few breakouts. She had a lot of stress going on with exams at that time, and when she started, she used the app for about 2 weeks, and I think for her, the biggest thing was she was able to track her skin over time, like be able to see pictures of her skin and see what ingredients work for her. And it made her realize like what habits she was taking into consideration while doing this. It wasn't just like, oh my God, I'm breaking out, I'm so stressed all the time. She was like, okay, like what are those habits that are coming into play while I'm stressed and while I'm breaking out? And it was she wasn't drinking enough water, her face wash was drying her face out during that time, and like she was using something that was more drying all year instead of just using that maybe in the summer, and like her learning this about herself and just like feeling like she has agency over her skin really helped her understand that like okay, this is not just something that I'm going to be blindly taking recommendations from, because that's not the goal, right? The goal is to empower the user to feel like they can actually understand and pick what to use. So that was something that really made me feel like okay, like this is really cool, she loves it, and I'm really excited to make an impact on other lives in this way.
Okay. So, okay, what's one acne myth you wish the internet would stop spreading? This is more especially on because on platforms like Instagram, TikTok, I feel like there's a lot of misinformation. So, what's one myth which you would?
Yeah, that's a really good question. The first thing that comes to mind is probably around having a 10-step skincare routine. I'm all for K-beauty. I think it's great, but I think everyone feels like you have to have this like really large curated like skincare routine, and if you don't have that, like you're gonna break out, you're gonna break your skin barrier. But I actually think, and this is from a dermatologist as well, and just going off of my background too and my experience is like when you use too many products at once without understanding your skin first, it actually can create an adverse effect because you're just putting on and on and on, and that can clog your pores. So I think, okay, if you understand your skin fully and then you're like, okay, I want to use all these products, like go for that, love it. But I think it's best to start off with like a few that really work for you. Like find your, just like when we talk about fashion and wardrobe, right? You have your capsule wardrobe, but if you're like you have too many clothes, it's going to be confusing. There's a lot of mental tax every day to get ready. I think the same thing is there with skincare. Like you need to find your staple products and then you can expand. Like, like maybe in the summer, like I need more of this, more sheet masks or more, well, like whatever you want. But if you don't have your core products and ingredients set into stone, then it becomes really hard to actually take care of your skin because your skin needs consistency to be able to actually glow up and clear out acne. And if you're never giving it that, then of course you're going to keep spending so much money and continue to have the same issues.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so let's come down to like some operational questions regarding the company of
Sure.
what you what's something about building a company in this space that people don't talk about, like, but is actually very, very hard?
Yeah, I think, okay, so right now, I feel like when you go on social media, whether it's LinkedIn, X, even Instagram, TikTok, being a founder is so glamorized and it's like this whole thing, oh yeah, like quit your job, like build a company, and like it's glamorized as like really fancy lifestyle. And I have a lot of friends that are founders. I'm a founder myself, whether people that are full-time or even like doing this within like their full-time job as well. it's not as glamorous as people realize. And I think the thing is that behind any like overnight success you might see online, even if like they have like hundreds of thousands of followers, what you don't see is like the late nights. And I feel like I sound like one of those Instagram posts, but I think it's very, very true that like you have to be willing to sit through that discomfort and seeing like stagnancy in terms of like with entrepreneurship, it's not a um like a linear progression, right? Like you don't with anything else, you put in the effort, you immediately get back the results. I think with entrepreneurship, it's more about long-term strategy, being able to have a long-term gratification. And if you're not willing to sit with that, I think you're not going to be satisfied with entrepreneurship because it just doesn't work like that. And it's really a long game. So I think that's something that I wish more people understood because I've had a lot of people come to me because I've built a company in the past in a different space and like, oh yeah, this is so cool, da da da. And like when I look at it, it's like the founder themselves, they actually don't feel like that cool doing it because you know that like half the time you're like wearing under eye patches, you're like in like a messy bun on your bed, just like freaking out, like, oh my God, this isn't working, or like this is working. And you know what I'm saying? Like it ends up working out, but I think it's the behind the scenes that I feel like no one talks about. And I think it's just the truth and reality of it.
Yeah. Yeah. That is why I feel like podcasts like this, like very raw podcasts, are helpful for people to understand how much effort and what kind of effort goes into entrepreneurship. So, yeah. Okay.
100%.
So when
Yeah.
you started building your company, what did you decide to do completely different from the existing skincare or dermatology solutions?
I think it's the fact that I'm not competing with them. You know what I'm saying? We're not a skincare company. We're not looking to replace derms at all. We're just building a bridge that helps people develop a sense of self-love towards their skin. And yes, of course, like, they should still connect with the dermatologist, but it's more so a really big focus on user experience and building consistency and habits around skincare, which no one else really does. And honestly, I think that is the key that people miss. Like you want that instant fix. You want the TikTok filter to make you look like you're flawless. You want the new skincare product to make you look like you have glass skin. But like newsflash, even the people that have really perfect skin, they don't have glass skin every day. Like that's definitely something where if you put on a lot of skincare and you take a video, like any of us will look like we have glass skin. And I think that's where my product stands out because it's more so about transparency and learning your skin at an authentic level.
Okay. And like in the early days, did you ever question that if you were the right person to solve this problem?
Honestly, no, I never questioned myself. I will say I have been questioned before, but it's typically just been by people that aren't in the space, like maybe they don't understand entrepreneurship. And so I think it's rather than me questioning myself, it's more so been learning how to separate someone else's opinion from my own opinion. And I think that's a great skill for anyone to have, regardless of whether you're an entrepreneur or not.
Hmm. Nice. So in like a decade or so, how do you imagine your company growing and what's your vision like?
Yeah, I essentially I'm looking to build the biggest movement around acne positivity. I want having acne and having imperfect skin to be something that no one ever feels shame about. I think we're already on our way there culturally for sure, but when you really look at it outside of the acne patches like that are like the mainstream influencers are using, overall your everyday girl or boy, like that still isn't there. And my mission is to make sure everyone is using this app and feels empowered in their skin, to just feel like, okay, I have acne. Like, that doesn't mean I need to put makeup over it or like even use like a patch if I don't want to. Like, this is a normal thing that happens to skin, and it's not something that I need to be feeling ashamed for or be using like a bunch of products right away. Like, it's okay. Like, I love my skin and I love myself. I don't need to look a specific way to do that.
Huh. That's a very nice message. I feel like it'll bring a lot of empowerment in a lot of girls and men as well. Right.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, those were all of my questions. Thank you, Rucha, for coming to this podcast. It was quite insightful. And all the best with the launch.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And if you haven't checked us out already, we're skinsights.ai on TikTok, Instagram. Make sure you follow along with the journey. And I'm just so excited. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast, Agirma.
Thank you. Well, you're welcome. Okay. Cool. Bye.
Bye.